All right, folks, buckle up because I'm going to show you a clip of Maxine Waters on MSNBC or MSNOW or MS pull the plug and get them canceled, ranting about how something's wrong with this president, our president. Okay, hear me out here, folks. And she's pushing for the 25th Amendment to oust President Trump, remove him from office. Now, we need to unpack this, okay? Because the hypocrisy and the lunacy here are is worse than the CEO of Cracker Barrel bold-faced lying to America's face that the response was good. Everybody liked the changes. No. Maxine Waters is out there calling Trump's cabinet and administration sycophants. But let's do what we do best here, folks. Let's hold up the mirror to her face and her pals for a second, shall we? And as always, if you guys would, please subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, drop comments, and let's roll the clip.
As far as I'm concerned, we have to move very aggressively. It is not about, lingering and trying to think that maybe the courts will help us. I want, even though I know it may not happen, the cabinet that he's appointed, a bunch of his sycophants who probably won't do what I would recommend. It is time to call for Article 25 of the Constitution of the United States of America to determine his unfitness, to determine that something's wrong with this president. And I would suggest that we move very aggressively to talk about the danger to this country and to our democracy and not play around with this, because this is absolutely one of the most destructive things that this president could do.
Congresswoman Wasserman Schultz, I mean, your take on this, because I think it's jarring to hear Congresswoman Waters say it's time for the 25th Amendment. But, I mean, presidents have been impeached for much less.
This is true.
All right, first off, let's talk about Maxine Waters and how she wants to invoke the 25th Amendment. Yeah, really? Hardly, ma'am. Does she honestly think that she can convince Trump's cabinet to turn on him? This is actually worse than what Gavin Newsom attempted, which I'll show that to you guys here in just a second, so stick with me. But I will say, Maxine Waters, Gavin Newsom, good luck with that, whatever that is, whatever your attempts are. Mainstream MSNBC, good luck, because you're failing worse than Jasmine Crockett. We'll talk about her too. Now, these are people who've seen the results of Trump's leadership: booming economy, secure borders, and a foreign policy that keeps our enemies in check. Sadly, being challenged, as I will share this clip here with you guys about Trump tariffs, which I hate to break the news to you guys, but if this actually goes through and somehow the Supreme Court sides and ultimately deems President Trump's tariffs to be illegal and terminated, canceled, reversed, eliminated, then God help us all, because our economy will absolutely crumble. Okay, so there's that. And that's just the start, because these tariffs are very, very, very strong tools used to make America great again around the world. Okay, and the implications here are tremendous.
Breaking tonight, just moments ago, actually, a federal appeals court ruled most of President Trump's tariffs are illegal. The court is saying the president exceeded his authority in imposing those levies. There's a catch, though, in this ruling. Correspondent David Spunt has details tonight, breaking just minutes ago. Good evening, David.
Brett, good evening. The catch is that the tariffs can stay in place until October 14th. That's when the mandate from the circuit court, the federal circuit court appeals decision, actually kicks in. This was a 127-page decision that just came down within the last 30 minutes. We're reading it, but it finds that most of the president's tariffs are unconstitutional. This was published to the public docket, as I said, within the last few minutes. Now, the panel found that the tariffs on nearly every country were not authorized, Brett, by the International Emergency Economic Powers Act and therefore are illegal. The court, writing today unanimously, the statute bestows significant authority on the president to undertake a number of actions in response to a declared national emergency. But none of these actions explicitly include the power to impose tariffs, duties, or the like, or the power to tax. Now, arguments were recently held in Washington, D.C. This gives the administration the green light to go directly here to the U.S. Supreme Court, which we expect to happen very soon. We've not yet heard from the White House, but we are expecting something this hour. Now, as I mentioned, this ruling does not take effect until October 14th, according to this appeals court, meaning that for now, for the next 6 weeks or so, the president continue the current posture with the tariffs as we wait some reaction here from the White House, Brett. But this is certainly a late Friday news dump from the appeals court for the Federal Circuit, no question, as we read through this.
And let's not forget, if Maxine Waters, somehow she got her way, well, who would be next in line? Vice President J.D. Vance, of course. And is that who she really wants calling the shots next? Choose your words carefully, because they may be your last, Maxine. Does she really think J.D. Vance is going to roll over for the left's agenda? Hardly. He's not Mike Pence. Come on now, Maxine. Think it through. Or is thinking just not your thing? As I've said to you guys before, these Democrats, they don't think beyond the moment that they're in, and they don't even begin to, for 1 second, consider the consequences of their actions. Now, let's talk about sycophants, okay? Maxine Waters loves throwing that word around, but she might want to take a hard look at her own side. You want to talk about someone who fits the bill? Let's shine a spotlight on the now resigned CDC official who's been setting the internet on fire, ablaze. This guy walks out in a huff, supposedly in protest of some firings, but what's really got people talking is his after-hours behavior and activity. Some of the, things that he probably didn't want us to know about. I mean, what kind of person spends their free time in ways that make even the most open-minded folks raise an eyebrow? Is this kind of leadership what Maxine Waters is defending? Is this what she calls moral high ground? A guy whose side gigs are so out there that they make her sycophant label sound like a compliment?
Well, something big is happening at the White House right now. The purge is on. Did you know that Death Eater Bill Gates had secret people or plants hidden in the government pushing his vaccine agenda, from literally everything from like mosquitoes, manipulation of mosquitoes, to getting rid of meat, so you'll eat his fake meat product, to mass vaccination programs on children? Well, that appears to be coming to an end. At least maybe it's coming to an end.
I understand there were a few other individuals who resigned after the firing of Ms. Monarez. One of those individuals wrote in his departure statement that he identifies pregnant women as pregnant people. So that's not someone who we want in this administration anyway. So if people are not aligned with the president's vision and the secretary's vision to make our country healthy again, then we will gladly show them the door.
Caroline, can I just go to the back?
So a stunning political purge that sent shockwaves through Washington this morning. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has been firing dozens of Bill Gates-connected operatives from key federal health agencies, including the CDC, HHS, NIH. And according to multiple reports, this is nothing short of like a scorched earth policy coming from insiders at HHS, basically to dismantle what Robert Kennedy believes is a corrupt biomedical regime that has operated unchecked for years inside of the federal government, all under the influence of billionaire and Epstein buddy Bill Gates. So among the first to fall is this lady, CDC Director Susan Monarez, who was reportedly fired after being identified as a collaborator in what a lot of people are saying was a long-standing vaccine cabal inside the government.
And more importantly, Secretary Kennedy, one of the world's foremost voices, advocates, and experts on public health, is working hard to restore the credibility and the integrity of CDC as a scientific organization committed to the scientific method and getting to the root causes of the public health epidemic in this country. There's one chronic illness after another where we have seen incidences and rates in the Western world in general, in America in particular, skyrocket over recent decades and years, both childhood illnesses and adult illnesses. And we know that the drivers of these chronic...
But back to the question, I had for my entire career been an advocate for the LGBTQ community through my work in HIV, through my work in MPOX. I find it outrageous that this administration is trying to erase transgender people. I very specifically used the term pregnant people and very specifically added my pronouns at the end of my resignation letter to make the point that I am defying this terrible strategy at trying to erase people and not allowing them to express their identities. So I accept the note from the press secretary and counter that with, I don't care.
Dr. Dimitri Daskalakis, Dr. Deb Howery, and Dr. Daniel Jernigan, I really do appreciate you coming on.
In total, 5 top CDC officials are now out, and the purge is expected to continue. This was just the first purging. So, you know, these like termites are like running for cover right now. These cockroaches are running for cover right now. So this is funny, though, because apparently she was told to resign, but she wouldn't do it. Like she was going to do it, then she's not going to do it. And then she was defying Secretary Kennedy's direct orders to fire swamp monsters who were big pharma swamp monsters that Kennedy was like asking her to fire, according to these reports. She wouldn't listen to her boss. I mean, that's like insubordination. So Trump fired her, by all accounts, but not so fast because then she hired a powerful law firm in Washington, D.C., and her lawyer says that she's not been fired. This is crazy. Lowell and I represent Director Susan Menarez. Contrary to government statements, Dr. Menarez has neither resigned nor yet been fired. We have issued the following statement. First, it was independent advisory committees and career experts. Then it was the dismissal of seasoned scientists. Now, Secretary Kennedy and his HHS have set their sights on weaponizing public health for political gain and putting millions of American lives at risk. Right, okay. What about the millions of people that lost their lives as a result of the big pharma boondoggle? No mention of that.
Well, this statement is crazy because it's saying that she refused to rubber stamp unscientific, reckless directives. Have you seen, I've spent the last 3 years going over what the lack of pharmaceutical trials for pretty much every new medicine to hit the market here on this show. And it has been nothing but reckless, the CDC, in the last at least 3 years since I've been doing Redacted. So that's crazy. I mean, rewind the tape, you guys. How they approved RSV vaccines for infants with the warning, don't give it to an infant if your infant's allergic to it.
COVID shots for pregnant women with no trials on pregnant women, no testing on pregnant women.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Philip or David.
I want to know what material their stamps were made out of going through all of that. Did they just now switched over to rubber and that's what she's refusing? Because it sure seems like they were doing rubber stamping on an awful lot of vaccines.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a shakeup at the Centers for Disease Control this week. The Trump White House fired the director of CDC, Susan Monterez, over disputes involving vaccine policy and personnel. When that happened, a handful of agency staffers resigned in protest, including a guy named Dr. Dimitri Daskalakis, who was in charge of issuing vaccine recommendations. You may remember this name. You've seen him on television. He was the Biden White House monkeypox czar when that outbreak occurred. Remember monkeypox? He was criticized at the time for attempting to normalize the sorts of activities that was actually causing the spread of monkeypox. At any rate, in his resignation letter, he heavily criticized the Trump administration and HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy, accusing them of politicizing science. But curiously, in his letter, he used the term pregnant people, a term used by the left to make people believe that men can get pregnant. Newsflash, they cannot. Mainstream media lost its mind over this, but White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said the administration wasn't putting up with this nonsense.
Understand there were a few other individuals who resigned after the firing of Ms. Monterez. One of those individuals wrote in his departure statement that he identifies pregnant women as pregnant people. So that's not someone who we want in this administration anyway. So if people are not aligned with the president's vision and the secretary's vision to make our country healthy again, then we will gladly show them the door.
Deskalakis, for his part, accused President Trump's administration of attempting to, quote, erase transgender populations. As for the CDC, Jim O'Neill, currently the Deputy Secretary of the Department of Health and Human Services, HHS, will temporarily lead the agency. Now, a lot of this dispute is over the COVID vaccine and whether it should be mandated. The left is losing its mind over this right now. But you know, it's funny, back in 2020, when the vaccine was first developed, this was the position of the Democratic Party's candidate for vice president.
But if Donald Trump tells us that we should take it, I'm not taking it.
You remember that voice? That's Kamala Harris. So when you hear people warning you of science being politicized, remember, they've probably been doing it for years.
If anything, his behavior screams sick, if you ask me, not sycophant. And so why isn't Maxine Waters calling him out? Why is she so silent when it's her own allies acting like they're auditioning for a scandal? And let's not stop there, folks. Maxine Waters and her Democrat buddies love to point fingers, but they're standing on a glass floor. And you know what they say, right? Remember when she told her supporters to get more confrontational over the Derek Chauvin trial, or when she called for people to harass President Trump's officials in public, telling them to create a crowd and make them feel not welcome anywhere. Where's the civility, Maxine? Where's the unity? Is this what you call leadership, Maxine? Or is this just inciting chaos while pretending it's justice? Why does she get a pass for rhetoric that sounds more like a mob boss than a congresswoman? And this is exactly what we talked about the other day. And they toss these words around and these directions and these orders for which their followers take, and then they find out. FAFO.
And thanks for being here, Brandon.
Carolyn, thank you so much. First, on the firing of the CDC director, first,
Sure.
Who will replace her? And then also, overnight, the White House said that she did not align with the president's agenda. Dr. Menard's attorneys say that she refused to rubber stamp unscientific, reckless directives and fire dedicated health experts. What specifically did she do wrong?
Look, what I will say about this individual is that her lawyer's statement made it abundantly clear themselves that she was not aligned with the president's mission to make America healthy again. And the secretary asked her to resign. She said she would, and then she said she wouldn't, so the president fired her, which he has every right to do. It was President Trump who was overwhelmingly reelected on November 5th. This woman has never received a vote in her life, and the president has the authority to fire those who are not aligned with his mission. A new replacement will be announced by either the president or the secretary very soon, and the president and Secretary Kennedy are committed to restoring trust and transparency and credibility to the CDC by ensuring their leadership and their decisions are more public-facing, more accountable, strengthening our public health system, and restoring it to its core mission of protecting Americans from communicable diseases, investing in innovation to prevent, detect, and respond to future threats. That's the mission of the CDC, and we're going to make sure that folks that are in positions of leadership there are aligned with that mission.
And briefly on another topic, alligator Alcatraz. Last week, a judge...
Then there's MSNBC, the network giving her a megaphone, unfortunately. And these folks have a track record of pushing fake news and half-truths longer than the list of employees on the payroll for leftist Democrat propaganda that are being paid by a Mr. Brian Cohen, I believe. I'm going to show that to you guys here in a moment. And remember their Russia collusion obsession? Remember that? Years of breathless reporting only to come up empty? Or how about their coverage of the 2020 election, where they painted anyone questioning irregularities as a conspiracy theorist or nut? MSNBC isn't in the business of truth. They're in the business of narrative. And when Maxine Waters goes on their airwaves to call Trump's team sycophants, well, they don't challenge her one bit. They nod along like bobbleheads and drinking swans. Why? Why? Because it fits their agenda. Why doesn't MSNBC ever grill their own side about, say, I don't know, the CDC officials' bizarre behavior? Or the fact that their hero, Maxine Waters, has been cozy with controversial figures like Louis Farrakhan. Crickets, right? Yeah, to be expected. Now, let's pivot to Kamala Harris. Oh, Kamala. Failed book tour Kamala. And also vulnerable Kamala, as she's lost her Secret Service detail. And her campaign was a masterclass in failure. And she wrote a book about it. Zero momentum, zero inspiration, and zero chance. The only other zeros she had were behind the billions of dollars that she funneled to her friends, Oprah, Beyonce, Lizzo, Cardi B. She tried to play the tough prosecutor role card, but voters saw right through it. Her record as California AG spent more time on her knees than locking up people for minor offenses while letting bigger issues slide. Her time as VP, border chaos. Name one meaningful legislation that she was involved with. Word salad is all it was, and a knack for avoiding responsibility. And is this who the left thought could take on Trump? A candidate who couldn't even win a single primary delegate in 2020. And why did they think she'd suddenly be a rock star in 2024? And why does Maxine Waters think that she can lecture us about leadership when her party propped up a candidate who flopped harder than a Cracker Barrel rebrand? Meanwhile, look at President Trump. The man's been delivering results that speak for themselves. He's cracking down on flag burning, pushing for law and order, and making sure our federal buildings reflect the timeless beauty of American values. He's standing up to the Fed's overreach, protecting our economic independence, and keeping America first. His policies brought us record low unemployment, energy independence, and peace deals like the Abraham Accords. And what's the left doing? Remind me again. Oh, yeah. Peddling fear, division, and what can only be described as cult-like propaganda. They're on a 724 loop, from MSNBC to their pet influencers trying to brainwash Americans into thinking Trump's the villain while they cover for their own scandals like that CDC official's creepy side hustle. And folks, the left wants you to believe that their outrage is righteous, but it's a house of cards. They call Trump's team sycophants, but they're the ones protecting their own questionable characters. They scream about democracy while pushing narratives that drown out truth. And they prop up candidates like Kamala Harris, who couldn't lead a book club, let alone a nation. And they even had their one of their candidates was crying on recorded, leaked audio.
So Democrats are kicking off their summer meeting in the city of Minneapolis, but amidst the party's struggles on multiple fronts, the focus was on launching attacks against President Trump and the MAGA base. And let's just say it got off to a less than smooth start. Take a listen.
Good morning. Good morning, Democrats. We need more. Paul, I need more sound. Good morning. Good morning, Democrats.
Very energetic start there. Joining us now is former Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy. Mr. Speaker, always good to see you. Thanks for coming on.
Good to see you.
So Democrats obviously are still trying to find their footing and what their message is going to be after the 2024 election. Right now, it still seems to be just resist Donald Trump. Take a listen.
We have one side led by a dictator-in-chief who's decided to throw these values into the dustbin of history.
That this administration is whipping up these unnecessary crises to distract from the real world.
Think of how easy it would be to be a damn Republican. Oh, what should I wear today? This stupid freaking red hat. What should I say today? I don't know. Just make sure it's cruel. Who do we listen to? That guy. Oh, the felon in the White House? Yeah, listen to him and that will be fine.
Is rolling out Tim Walz what the base wants right now?
No, Tim had them lose, and this is what they're coming back to. And then the part you didn't play is they started out apologizing for being an American, but that this is not our land.
The land acknowledgement.
Yes.
Yeah.
Every time I think they're going to right the ship, they go backwards a little further. They're further down today than they were with the election. I think if the election was reheld today, President Trump would win by a bigger margin. It's unbelievable.
Well, the thing is also, this caught my attention, is that millions in the Harris campaign expenses are still way on the DNC. So Axios' Alex Thompson wrote this, that as of July 31st, and you can explain to us why this matters so much, the DNC had $13.9 million on hand. The RNC had $84.3 million on hand. Now, that might be typical if you have whoever the president is, but this disparity is huge. And they've been railing against President Trump so much, but they're not bringing in any money from it.
They're not bringing money in from it, but also they're paying Harris's debt. She got more than $1 billion, and when the election came, you couldn't tell the three things she was going to do, but she put him in debt, and they paid like 14 or 15 million of that, and there's a $70 million difference right now. Wow. That's hard to keep up when you're in the minority like that, and they have no message that's resonating to bring people through, and the only Democrats out there that are resonating and getting money are the socialists.
Yeah.
DNC Chair Ken Martin has been urging Democrats to fight more. We've heard him say that, they've been bringing a knife to a knife fight. Then he says they need to bring a bazooka to a knife fight. Now he says they're bringing a pencil to a knife fight. But back in May, Politico got this recording of him crying on a call amongst Democrats because he felt that David Hogg was making his job harder. Let's take a listen. We'll get your thoughts on the other side.
No one knows who the hell I am, right? I'm trying to get my sea legs underneath of me and actually develop any amount of credibility so I can go out there and raise the money and do the job I need to put ourselves in a position to win. And again, I don't think you intended this, but you essentially destroyed any chance I have to show the leadership that I need to. So it's really frustrating.
Sounds a little emotional there at the end.
They got rid of the wrong person. He should have resigned if he felt that way. He's the leader, and he's crying, nobody knows me, and you said I can't now do my job. And all they've done is fight internally and remove a young person. He may disagree with them, but they eliminated extra voices. This is what they've done to fail themselves, that they pick who their nominee is instead of allowing them to have a normal primary. The number one thing they should do, change what they have been doing. Stop putting the losers out front. I'd change their current leadership. Hakeem can't make a decision. The new leader is going to be this new socialist mayor. And what I would go out there and do and be authentic. If he thinks he's not the leader, then let somebody else who really wants to be the leader lead them. Because otherwise they're going nowhere. And they're paying off the debt from the last person who only ran for 107 days.
So November of 26 might seem like a long way for some people, but to me, it's like the Democrats are running out of time to get themselves righted for a really good showing at the midterm. Am I wrong?
Yes, every day they're losing ground. They're lower percentage-wise they've been, and this should be a good year for them, and they're doing everything wrong. Kamala Harris is not paying off her debt. She's trying to go do a book tour and leaving it to the DNC, and they're $70 million behind. Look, as a Republican, great job. Keep it up.
But is there anything the Republicans should be worried about or concerned about or be thinking about in terms of the midterms and the Democrats at this moment?
I would, because on an off presidential year, it's usually concerning. The one thing about Republicans that they should know, President Trump had an excellent election. Republicans did not. They should have won more seats. They lost. In a time where he won the popular vote. The last time a Republican has done that, a popular vote, has been 36 years. You should have been able to surf during that time. You should have won seats instead of losing seats.
Yeah, and then you wouldn't need to redistrict, maybe.
Exactly.
All right,
That's
Kevin McCarthy, thanks for being
Good
here.
to see you. So ask yourselves, folks, who's really fighting for America? Who's delivering results, and who's just shouting into the void, hoping that you'll forget their hypocrisy, or at least their demographic, their voter base, their pool, which really they only want illegals to vote now based on what Gavin Newsom had to say.
In LA, do you think ICE is not going to show up around voting and polling booths to chill participation? You know that. The National Guard, you know that. Everybody knows what's at stake, so we have to put a stake in the ground and do things differently.
But President Trump's out here making America great again, doing exactly what we voted for, while Maxine Waters and the bunch, the peanut gallery over there, I don't even know what we should really call them, and her media cronies are stuck in a cycle of lies and double standards in front of an audience that's dwindling and reaching tens of people at the most. Don't fall for it, folks. This is all for entertainment purposes only. This is comedic relief. This is just a way to humor ourselves throughout the days. Don't fall for it. Stay sharp, stay free. Let's keep America first. Subscribe to the channel. I really would appreciate it. Hit that like button, drop a comment. I can't wait to read them all. And if you haven't called Chapter already, make sure you do. And if you are interested in saving money, specifically on your Medicare, then make sure you give our friends at Chapter a call. And I want you guys to really, really pay attention here, because it's come to my attention that most seniors are not on the best Medicare plan. They're either overpaying for the same coverage they could get elsewhere, or they don't have the coverage they need in an emergency. Chapter can review your options in under 20 minutes. It's fast, it's simple, it's easy, and it's free. If you're already on the best possible plan, they'll tell you they're unbiased and they're purely here to help folks, seniors, save money on healthcare, on average $1,100. And if you're not on the right plan, they'll help you switch, even if it's to a plan that pays them nothing. Again, unbiased, folks. This is unique and unlike any other Medicare provider out there. And this is exactly why we love Chapter so much, because they're literally just trying to help people. Chapter works for you, not big insurance or the government. And there's no pressure, just honest, free advice from professionals who know Medicare inside and out.